Welcome back to another episode of the Bad Influence Podcast. I am Jordan Banderas. Before we begin, don't forget to hit that follow, subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of my episodes. It is often said that curiosity killed the cat, right? But when it comes to relationships, I honestly believe that curiosity could be the very thing that keeps them alive. The reason why I say this is because during my marriage, I realized that relationships have the potential to be incredibly fulfilling, but they also require a lot of work to maintain. And I don't know if you knew this, but if you're in a serious relationship and you want to make it work, you have to put a lot of commitment, a lot of effort, a lot of things into the relationship for that to work. And one of the most crucial elements to keep your relationship strong is to remain curious about your partners and their experiences in life, about their childhood, about everything. And the reason why this makes the relationship strong is by getting to know your partner on a deeper level through questioning and genuine interest about their past. You can actually stay up to date with the changes in their life, especially since people and their experiences evolve, right? So what happens in this type of situations, and what I'm referring to, is that let's say you meet your partner when they're in their 20s or 30s, right? By then, they have gone through a lot. They have pretty much their own life. They have done things. They have their own triggers. They have so many things that can affect your relationship with that person. So it's essential to keep discovering new things about your partner, especially their triggers, especially, what makes them mad, what makes them tick, things like that, And I want to share this story with you guys because it's very important in regards to what I want to talk about on today's episode. So a few years back, my wife Katie and I started doing this practice. She began asking me about my life in Mexico, which I wouldn't have answer for anyone else back in the day. I was very closed off about my past. I didn't want to share it. I didn't want to talk about it. It was just me because of everything that I have gone through. I didn't think that anybody will understand. So I started to share my upbringing, highlighting the contrast between my past, where I experienced poverty, and the life that I have now, which is completely different. But the most important thing that I want to highlight with this story is that as I share some of my past, including traumatic incidents like witnessing my mom stab my brother when I was around 8, Katie, my wife, gained insights into why I am the person that I am today. She understood why sometimes there are things that trigger me, why I get mad about certain things, why sometimes it was hard for me to communicate. And the most important thing that happened by me doing that is that this openness led me to share more experiences, which my wife appreciated and reciprocated. And the most important thing that also happened, there's so many important things that happen by us doing this, is that Katie's curiosity about me grew a lot. And she started asking me more questions about my past, like how was school in Mexico? How did you make friends? Like, were you always quiet? Shit like that, And this also encouraged me to inquire about her life. And through this particular exchange, we gain a profound understanding of each other's lives. I learned that she was raised with 2 parents, which I wasn't. She was raised completely different than I was. I have a street knowledge. She doesn't. She was a VP at one point. I have never been a VP. So there's so many things that I have learned from her and that she has learned from me that it has made a relationship very strong now. And that's why I think that you, as someone that cares about the person that you're with, should ask those type of questions. In my opinion, you need to be curious, right? You need to be curious. And if you're like, I know what you're saying, Jordan, and everything, but I don't know how to be curious about my partner. Well, good thing you're listening to today's episode, because if you're unsure how to be curious about your partner, just start by asking questions about their childhoods, about their parents, about their siblings, and key moments that shape their personalities. That will open the gate. And also explore both the good and the bad times, as well as the funny and the sad, because knowing your partner's past helps you understand their current behaviors. It will help you understand why they get triggered about their body, about how they dress, and stuff like that. So it's very important to be super curious. It's also important to be curious about why, which sometimes happens, why your partner doesn't take care of him or herself. Maybe because they're carrying some emotional baggage, but they don't even know it because they haven't asked themselves those questions. But the most important lesson I've learned is that to build intimacy and trust in the relationship, you must show vulnerability. So by sharing some of your stories from your past with your partner, you invite your partner to do the same. And that's important because you must invite each other to talk about moments that made you better or stronger, as well as those that still haunt you to this day. And the reason behind that is because sharing these stories deepens understanding and builds trust between each other, Like, I'm going to share this with you because I trust you, and then that other person shares something with you because they trust you. And also, listen to your partner without judgment. That's extremely important, because as they share their life experiences, they're going to relieve some of the things that they're going to tell you. If they've been abused, if they suffer a traumatic event, they're going to open up to you, and they're going to cry, and they're going to need you. So let them speak without interruption. Offer supportive feedback and reflective questions to keep the conversation going so they know that you're interested. That's the main thing that happens in relationships. I don't think that a lot of people are interested on what their partner has to say. So in order for this to change, you have to create a safe space for your partner to open up, as this builds a foundation of trust. And just because you're asking about the past, that doesn't mean that you know everything about your partner. So don't stop at the past. Inquire about their hopes, their fears, their dreams for the future. Learn about their passions and ambitions, and also what legacy they want to leave behind. Because understanding your partner's future goals helps you fit into their vision for life. And I'll give you this example. So let's say your partner wants to start a business, selling clothes, something online, whatever business it may be, right? But you don't want that. You don't want to start a business, because obviously if they start a business, they may need your help. They may need advice. They may need your feedback. So that will take you away from whatever you want to do. If you actually want to do something, or if you just want to stay at your job, that's going to take energy from that. So that's why you need to know what's your vision for the relationship. Where do you want to take the relationship in 5 years? What do you want to do? How are we going to stay afloat when it comes to our finances? Are you going to be spender? You're not going to be spender? Shit like that. Ask them about what they want to do with the relationship. Where do they want to take that relationship? Because again, I have seen so many relationships that don't talk about anything about literally even having kids, about where they want to live, the car that they want to have, and they get married, and then the problems start because one wants to have kids, the other one wants to wait, and it's all this literally bullshit that happens within the relationship that should have been talked about before getting married. Like, I know this couple that just got married within the last 6 months, and they're already fighting all the time because they don't know each other. They don't know anything about each other. One is allergic to like a fruit, which is the fruit that the other person likes. So that person keeps bringing fruit into the house, and the other person is like, hey, you want to kill me? Like, I keep telling you that I'm allergic to this, and you keep bringing the fruit, so I'm just going to go into anaphylactic shock one day. And the other person is like, but it's the fruit that I like. And that's the shit that happens now in relationships. So, in my opinion, a long-lasting relationship requires effort, a lot of effort. So, remaining curious about your partner and their life is essential, super essential. If you start doing this, you're gonna thank me, because when I tell people to do this and they actually do it, it helps them a lot. So start asking questions, share stories, and start to listen without judgment, because that's what's going to build a strong foundation of trust and intimacy that helps your relationship thrive. So remember that there's no love without curiosity, because it is the thread that holds the fabric of the strongest relationships together. And if you want a strong relationship, be curious about your partner. Ask them questions. Pretty much follow everything that I talked about on today's episode. Start with their past, then move on with their family, move on with where they want to take the relationship, move on with what inspirations they have. Ask them questions like that. How many kids do they want to have? Because you don't want to have an oops baby right now, especially with the economy, right? If one of you doesn't want to have a kid right now, then prepare to not have a kid. Instead of what I'm seeing right now, that is like, oh, my wife doesn't want to have a kid, but I want to have a kid, so I'm going to get her pregnant. Same thing with women. Oh, I want to have a kid. My husband doesn't want to have a kid, so I'm going to get pregnant. That's not going to help. So ask questions and make your relationship better by doing that. And that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more inspiring content. And remember to keep an open mind and engage in respectful discussions in the comments below. Remember to share, like, and subscribe, and hit that notification button to stay tuned for more inspiring content. And here are my final thoughts. If you're not curious about your partner, then why are you with them? That's a good question, right? And have a great day.